It's 2 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling, and suddenly you're the most motivated person alive. The plan is perfect, the routine, the apology, the new you. Tomorrow, everything changes. Then tomorrow comes, and you just don't. You're not lazy. You just live two completely different lives in the same body, and they never meet. You know exactly what this feels like, the clarity that arrives only in the dark. Lying there, you can see the whole map of your life, where it went wrong, how to fix it, who you could be. It feels so close you could touch it. You fall asleep almost proud of the person you're about to become. And then the alarm goes off, and that person is just gone. Not gone exactly, more like locked behind a door you can't find in daylight. So you start collecting evidence against yourself. You tell yourself you have no discipline, that you're all talk, that something must be broken in you. Because normal people don't promise themselves a new life every single night and then betray it by lunch. But here's what's strange. At 2 a.m., you genuinely mean it. That motivation isn't fake. The plan isn't a lie you tell to feel better. In that moment, you are completely sincere. You can feel the weight of how much you want it. So, if the wanting is real, why does it evaporate? You assume the problem is willpower, that if you just wanted it more, you'd do it. But you already wanted it. You wanted it so badly you couldn't sleep. The wanting was never the missing piece. Something else is happening, something that has almost nothing to do with how much you care, and almost everything to do with when you're allowed to care. Here's the part nobody explains. At 2 a.m., there are no consequences. The day is over. Nothing is being asked of you. No boss, no messages, no eyes, no real next step. In that empty space, planning your life isn't an action, it's a feeling, and the feeling is intoxicating. You get all the emotional reward of change without any of the risk of actually changing. Your brain doesn't fully separate imagining something from doing it. When you vividly picture the new you, waking up early, sending the apology, becoming the person you respect, your mind gives you a small dose of the satisfaction you'd get from actually doing it. So at 2 a.m., you're not planning, you're rehearsing the relief. And it feels so good that some part of you treats it as if the work is already done. That's why the morning feels like a betrayal, because morning is where the plan stops being a feeling and becomes a cost. Now there's effort. Now there's the risk of trying and failing. Now there's the discomfort of being a beginner at your own life. The 2 a.m. version of you never had to pay any of that. They got the dream for free. And there's something deeper underneath. Night is often the only time you feel safe enough to want more. During the day, you're managing, surviving emails, expectations, other people. Wanting a bigger life feels dangerous when you're already stretched thin, because wanting means admitting something's missing. But at 2 a.m., alone, with no one watching and nothing to lose, the wall finally drops. The honesty comes out. Which means your night plans aren't delusion. They're the truest thing you feel all day, just spoken at the 1 hour you have no power to act on them. You felt this in 100 small ways. The text you compose perfectly in your head at midnight, the one that finally says what you mean, that somehow never gets typed in the morning. At night, it felt brave. By daylight, it feels like too much. The workout plan that feels effortless when you're warm under the blanket imagining your future body, and impossible the second your feet hit the cold floor. The whole career you map out at 1 a.m., the skills you'll learn, the thing you'll build, that quietly shrinks back down to just get through today, the moment the day actually starts. Or the simplest one, you decide with total certainty that tomorrow you'll wake up at 6, and tomorrow at 6, the person who made that decision is nowhere to be found. You're not breaking the promise. You weren't even in the room when it was made. But let's be careful here, because this is where people go too far. This doesn't mean you're a fraud. It doesn't mean your night self is the real you and your day self is the failure. They're both you. One is the part that dreams. The other is the part that has to carry the weight of an ordinary, tiring day. Shaming either one just makes the gap wider. And it doesn't mean every late-night plan is meant to be acted on. Sometimes the 2 a.m. planning isn't really about the plan at all. It's how you soothe yourself. It's how your mind processes a day you didn't get to feel during the day. That's not a flaw to fix. That's just being human in the quiet.
The mistake isn't planning at night. The mistake is believing the version of you who plans should be the same one who executes, and then hating yourself when they're not. They were never going to be the same person. They live at different hours, under completely different conditions. So maybe the goal was never to become your 2 a.m. self. Maybe it's to leave that version of you a smaller note instead of a manifesto. Not fix your entire life. Just one thing, one small, almost embarrassingly easy thing the tired morning self can actually carry. Because your morning self isn't unmotivated. They're just real. They live in a world with friction and limits and only so much energy. They can't inherit a whole new life overnight, but they can do one thing the dreamer asked for. That's how the two of you finally meet, not in some perfect transformation, just in one kept promise, small enough to survive the daylight. So tonight, when the clarity comes and you start building the perfect life in your head, let it. But before you fall asleep, hand your morning self just one thing and watch what happens when for once the two of you are finally on the same side.